All right, guys, welcome back to Agents Podcast. So today we're joined by my buddy Jeff Gum. Now, just to make this short and brief, Jeff Gum is a world traveler, former Navy SEAL, entrepreneur. This dude even walked on Miami Fashion Week in a Sunga. If you go to his page, you'll understand this is like a real life Renaissance man. It's a lifestyle that I've really looked up to and been a really cool dude that I've known for a little bit now. So, Jeff, so happy to have you, man. Hope we can get some good insight from you.
Thank you, Tony. Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. And it's combining Florida powers over here,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So Jeff's down over here in Miami. He just showed me his balcony in a beautiful Miami high rise. So you guys know we're here in beautiful St. Pete Beach. So Jeff, right off the bat, so the guests can get to know who you are. Like how I introduced you, the former Navy SEAL. Like we don't want to skim past that because I'm sure that was such a big part of your life. And I know like you're like, hey, this is a chapter that I'm probably not involved in anymore. But I'm sure like for me, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. Like even though I came off of a year where I wasn't training, I still identified as a jiu-jitsu black belt. I still felt that in my soul. Like if we did some kind of activity, whether it's road biking or treading water in a pool, I still have that where I'm like, I'm not about to be the guy who loses this competition because there's something in me that just like hates it. So
is that your new like pronoun, jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, yeah, right. It's how I identify, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But so what was that like? So starting off, like what got you into the SEAL teams? What was in Jeff Gum's mind? Where you're like, hey, I want to be Navy SEAL. That's like not an easy decision to make.
Yeah, I was 16 and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was an athlete playing 4 sports: soccer, basketball, track, then kicked for cross country as well, and was into lifting, but I tore my ACL and I went from being able to like lift 2 hours a day, 2 hours of practice or a game. Even before every game, I would lift for an hour or two. And all of a sudden I'm just stuck in a brace, can't move. I'm just doing like leg raises, trying to keep my leg strong and trying to rehabilitate it. And I realized I needed like the biggest challenge in order to be fulfilled, and basically became obsessed with being a Navy SEAL and wanting to do Hell Week and eliminating any weakness I had. Like I was a good athlete, but I never like skydived. I had shot a bit. I had done, swim lessons as a kid at the YMCA and everything, but I wasn't, swimming seven miles at any point, or, diving. I was like, I saw it as a great challenge to do, became obsessed with it. And then a year and a half later, 9/11 happened, and it just reaffirmed it 100-fold. Be a Navy SEAL, not for the challenge and, because it's cool or all the cool stuff you get to do, but to go hunt the most evil people in the world and make sure 9/11 doesn't happen again. And so I kind of, got more and more obsessed with it. I realized I was 18 though, and I was like, I should probably go to college. I had taken, the honors classes and everything. I was like, I should go to college first and get a little stronger, more mature. And so after graduating from University of Central Florida, go Knights,
Yeah, let's go.
I found a mentor, trained with them for a while. They kind of connected me with a bunch of collegiate swimmers, with a Army diver who's a Ranger in SF, and he trained me. Rick Lormore, he became the president of NAUI, trained with him. He would like tie me up in the pool and all this stuff, and then I'd be like trying to breathe, do all this things, and I was like, all right, time to go to Buds and get it on.
Damn. So it was just one of those things like it's almost like you had something taken from you was that athletic prowess.
Yeah.
And it's always like when they say like exceptional people always have some bullshit they've been through. It's really rare you meet somebody who's been through hell that didn't have something to send them there, right? Mm-hmm. First, it's like something happens. I was just saying this to my partner last night. We're watching a thing on jiu-jitsu, and it's like the women who get really good at jiu-jitsu usually are the ones who have been threatened with or have had some sort of domestic violence or some sort of situation. And then they go and they know like, hey, I want to have this. This isn't like frivolous for me. This is real. So you had your leg in a brace. You weren't able to train the same way. And then you're like, yo, like I'm going to be something more than the way I feel now, which is stuck on the couch with a brace, and it's crazy that you reach right for Navy SEAL. So when you went to Buds, was it like a wake up call? Like, whoa, this is way worse than I thought? Or were you really prepared based on what you'd done prior?
So, I mean, both. I prepared really well. I mean, I went to boot camp and I had kids in boot camp with me that didn't know what Hell Week was. And I'm like, don't worry, you're not going to have to worry about that.
Yeah, you're not going to make it that far.
Like, and they didn't even realize I was saying that. They'd be like, oh, thank you. That's awesome. Like 18-year-olds that were just so naive and signed up for it.
And what you meant was like, if you don't know, you're not going to make it that far anyways.
Yeah, they didn't even make it to first phase, or I don't even think they made it to Indoc. Like,
how many people made it through Hell Week from your total group? Like, how many came in to Bud?
So of the 253 I classed up with, now I lost probably 50 or 75 before it even classed up, but classing up 253, and then I graduated 2 years later with 26.
So that, wow. So over 220 people just didn't make it through the process, which is kind of the point. You start with 250 and you end up with 26 fucking savages.
Yeah. And I mean, I had some shit happen along the way when I first, I was a really good runner. And when I first got out there running in the soft sand, it kind of did something, and it made me get like this crazy IT band issue. And I'm like, just like hopping at one point to keep going. And this wasn't even the hard stuff yet. I'm like, what the hell happened to my leg? And I was trying to do all this different stuff. I ended up basically getting an admin role because they were classing up 269, and there was like 50 people too many, and we got kind of automatically rolled to the next class. So I made sure I was like in that group, so I didn't get penalized there. Then I talked to somebody who told me what foam rolling was. And, it sounds crazy now. You foam roll multiple times a day now and everything. But in 2007, like it wasn't popular at the time. And all of a sudden the foam rolling like loosened up my leg, and then I could run really fast again and everything. And there's like, I could still feel, there's people who are like, oh, you can run through an IT band issue. This was not. It was like my leg didn't work. It was crazy. And so then I go all the way through Indoc first phase, and I don't fail a single evolution. And then Friday before Hell Week, I get viral gastroenteritis, VGE, and I couldn't even drink water without like throwing up. I was like so thirsty, trying to drink, just puke. And I go to medical, and it's kind of like late afternoon Friday. Hell Week starts Sunday, and I'm like, hey, something's wrong with me here. I can't even keep water down. And they give me IVs. They miss my veins like 3 times because I'm so dehydrated. They just roll. And then I go, next day I'm able to start eating a little bit. And then Sunday I'm just like, that's it. I'm going all the way Hell Week. And I thought I was fine. I was really dehydrated. I lost like probably 10 pounds or more. Wow. And then I go into that class. First day is fine. And we're just having like mass exodus over and over. We do a steel pier. One of the toughest guys quits first in my class, at least physically toughest. And he looked like Ivan Drago kind of, and was the second fastest runner. And like 25 people follow him. And then we're doing like another thing, these like buoy swims. We lose like another 30 people during that. And so it's like crazy cold water. So people are getting hypothermia. People are, you're running everywhere you go with a 200-pound boat on your head. You're lunging for miles with logs, and you're just doing it all covered in sand, not getting any sleep. And from being really dehydrated, it led to me getting rhabdomyolysis. So like come maybe Monday, I started like cramping so bad, the type of cramps where a football player like gets carried off of the field. And I just had to like bite down as hard as I could and run under the boat. And I think just doing that the best I could to stay under the boat. And it just led to me, my muscles broke down so much that my blood became toxic with muscle waste, creatinine, ketones, mycoplasmin, and all of a sudden, like nothing was like working on my body physically, I'd try to run and would just, it like wouldn't, nothing would fire. And I'm just like trying, and I was almost just like power walking was the best I could do. And I'm like trying to, can't even, guys are running with the boat. I can't even run as fast as the boat without the boat on my head. And I'm sure it's something that has happened many, many times in SEAL training, but it was never diagnosed before because everybody quits when they get it, because it messes you up so much physically that you can't take it mentally. People, you get a lot of pressure from other people and the instructors that if you're not keeping up, you're not supposed to be there. But I knew I was supposed to be there, and I would think of the SEAL creed that said, I am never out of the fight. I will never quit. And I'm like, I won't be able to go back, I felt. And there was no way I was ever going to face my friends and family and everyone I loved that I had told since I was 16. Oh yeah, I just gave up on that thing I talked about nonstop since I was, 16. And so, but they didn't really give me a choice, and they ended up performance dropping me an hour from Wednesday, and I was the last one to not make it through that hell week. And I was basically telling them, can you just take me out and surf torture me and I'll just do something else? Like, I know I won't quit, but something's wrong with me here. And they're like, we can't do that. That doesn't work. And I went to medical, and I thought I had a thing called swimmer-induced pulmonary edema, SIPE. It typically, there's like HAPE, which I'm sure you've heard about, high altitude pulmonary edema, where people's lungs fill up with blood and they can't breathe right. And that happens when you climb the highest mountains in the world to a lot of people. And swimmer-induced happens to bud students. And I went, and I didn't have that. And then I'm like, dude, my legs feel like they're like breaking or something. Like, do I have stress fractures? And I went and got my legs x-rayed, and that didn't come back. And I'm like, what the hell? And I was calling all the SEALs I knew that all thought I was really tough, and they called in and vouched for me. I ended up going in front of there was like a utility uniform. We wore it in boot camp, and it's what you would wear when you get to buds. You don't wear it anymore. You put on these camis until you quit. Then you put that on, you go to Extiv, and I was like, that's a quitter uniform. I'm never putting that thing on again. And I just wore my dress blues everywhere because I couldn't wear the camis. I wasn't going to wear the quitter uniform. And I just wore my dress blues. So I was like, hey, I'm 23. I have a college degree. I'd never failed a single evolution this whole time. I just got really sick before Hell Week, and I just need to figure out what's wrong with me and get healthy and get back into training. And he's like, damn, you're the first person to ever like want to do this again after getting dropped. I'm going to talk to some people. And I got back in, got another shot, went to the next class. And then I went from never failing a single evolution during, indoc and first phase to failing every single evolution there was. I couldn't pass anything. And this was a whole new buds class. And now all the instructors that had given me, a lot of grief when I got back in were all like, we knew you didn't belong, all this stuff. And I'm like, what? So then it's like the second week of first phase, and we do a 4-mile timed run, and I come in last place by 6 minutes. I go to medical after. I'm like, I need to figure out what's wrong with me, or this is like, I'm going to get taken out again. And it's there where I was like, hey, I need to figure out what's wrong. I'm not looking for a way out. And they drew my blood. My blood came back toxic. And then that's when I got sent home on medical leave and was able to get rest, get healthy. Your kidneys and liver kind of filter out all that bad blood that's in your system. And then you can start. Then I was able to be strong and start again. And then I was like Superman because I went from used to doing everything with my body not working to now being really strong. And yeah, there was like nothing they could do at that point.
Guys, this episode of the 8 Limbs Podcast is brought to you by Cold Plunge. This is the Rolls Royce of all the ice bath units you're seeing now. It is all the rage, and they by far have the most premium unit. It is beautifully aesthetic to look at, so anywhere you put it, you're going to love to see it. It's going to be calling you in every single day. The cold water gives you so much energy, removes inflammation, gets rid of your body fat, and just all around builds your mental toughness by getting yourself to get in every single day. I love this unit. It is a set it and forget it type unit. You don't have to do much besides a little bit of water maintenance. If you're interested in buying one, use code 8limbs at checkout. Wow. That's way more than a journey than I even thought. I didn't know you went through all that. I mean, that's crazy. And that just shows a lot. Like, I guess that's the whole purpose with something like a Hell Week is you want to test people's minds. Like, and I like how you differentiated the most physically tough guy, right? It's so true. It's like some people can be really physically tough. And I always use the mats as an example. Like they're the toughest guy in the gym. And so like they don't really have, so like they can be really tough when they're going with guys lighter or lower skill. And then all of a sudden they get someone that's like equal weight, equal skill, and very tough mentally. And they get put to that place where it's like, hey, now when we're both exhausted, what do you got? You're like, what do you have when you're, and then you start to really see different sides in people. And I feel like that's the goal, right? That's why the Navy wants to make Navy SEAL such an elite thing where it's like, hey, like you're not going to make this through if there's any mental weakness in you. You know, and
because it's going to happen eventually on some mission, and they want to know that you're going to give everything you have in your heart for the guy next to you.
That's it. And yeah, it's like to keep him alive as well, right? Send him home, right?
Yep.
I love that mentality. I love that so much that, you know, it's like I know a few people that are from some elite special forces, and it's like they're all are some of the nicest guys you're meeting your entire life, like some of the nicest, most kind people. And so it's like this opposite of what they portray in the movies. They show like the Navy SEALs, the movies, like think back to Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, like tough, hard ass, mean sons of bitches. It's like that is not my experience. Why do you think that is?
I mean, there can definitely be those crazy characters in the teams, though. Most of the guys have that little thing deep down somewhere that's a little crazy. The guys that do make it through, you probably see that a bit with like top fighters and everything. There's a lot of similarities between like spec ops and top fighters there. But really the reason, I mean, but just being crazy or like, you know, wanting to do it for the wrong reason isn't going to get you through that Hell Week. It's going to, you need a deeper meaning to get through these really tough parts. And for me, it was, I wanted to be able to hunt the most evil people in the world, and I was going to go through hell to get there.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like that's it. There's something special when you go through hell, like Hell Week, and there's other levels in life that are hell. Sometimes it could be someone's business hell or someone post-divorce, but like we go through our hells.
Yeah.
And then when we come out, it's like, hey, we're changed now after that experience. Like things are not going to be the same.
And so it ended up being one of the greatest things ever that I didn't, you know, I ended up, now I'm like so thankful I went through that. Being like pretty mentally tough and a good athlete, it's still hard to do Hell Week, but I wouldn't have been challenged to my core the same way. And then now as an entrepreneur, every time I have a new problem or a struggle or whatever, and I'm just like, don't feel sorry for yourself. Embrace like the struggle and be thankful. You're going to learn more lessons because of this, and it's going to be worth more at the end. And then just reframing it like that makes the situation a lot easier.
Yeah, I think I've heard it said, you know, like some really hard physical accomplishment, whether it's college sports or martial arts, prepares you better for business than business school does.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
totally.
you can take your licks a lot more humbly and be like, hey, this is what's going to have to happen. So, man, so you finished the Navy, and how long was that stint for you? How long were you in the SEALs?
10 years. And so I was at like Team 5 for 2 deployments, and then I was a combatives instructor and the lead petty officer there. So I ran all the hand-to-hand combat and prisoner handling, and we designed a course, combatives instructor course, that would train more advanced operators. And I got to train other special ops units on the other side of the world, and units in Hawaii and Mississippi, and do a lot of really cool stuff as an instructor too, which I really embraced being that. And yeah, it really it was also good because it allowed me towards the end to study the GMAT, found my own company while I was still active duty, and then do more traveling, take advantage of that. Went to Brazil many times with the Gracie family and everything. And that's where I discovered Sungas and realized I had always been drawn to entrepreneurism and had wanted to make my own company, but I didn't know what kind of product or business I would do until I was down there. And I'm like, bought a bunch and wore them all over the world. And everybody was like, where can I get these? And I was like, oh, pretty much only in Brazil. And I was like, oh, well, actually, maybe I can change that.
I love it. Yeah, that's how we really connected. So let's chat that. So Sunga Life. So if that birthed Sunga Life, which Sunga Life is an activewear, swimwear brand you're the founder of. My company, Elam's Creative, has done some media marketing for you guys. It's really cool commercials and even like a match cut style parody video, like What is a Sunga? We just did last summer, which was a lot of fun. I was just telling you off air, which is crazy. I've worked a lot of brands over the years, a jiu-jitsu athlete owning a marketing company. It's really easy to get products because if someone sends us product, it's like they're only out the cost of their goods. And what they get in return is like a lot of content from me wearing it. But like, I'm not just a random guy with an iPhone. We have a marketing company. So I've had a lot of opportunity to try a lot of stuff. That's the reason I'm saying this. And I was just telling you, like, still to this day, Sunga Life board shorts are my favorite thing to wear in the water. And I have so much. I probably have 75 pairs of shorts in my drawer. My girlfriend was just telling me, like, why do you have so many? And it's fun. I have an ice bath here at my house. So whenever friends come over, I'm able to, hey, just take something and wear it home. Like, just take a pair and go home with it, But you nailed it. You nailed it with that brand, especially with the board short fits, where it's like they're the perfect width. They're narrow enough to not look baggy, but they're stretchy enough where I can roll in them. I can even do jiu-jitsu in those things, which is awesome. No need to wear any kind of compression or underwear in them, and they're stylish. I love it. So it's like still what I go for and grab.
They're so perfect for Florida. They're what I wear to go do everything here. And yeah, you don't need underwear. They're just breathable, stretchy. They look good with any kind of shirt you're wearing. Yeah.
It's the cut of them, because a lot of board shorts aren't like that. And then obviously the Sunga style, which is like like the way I always describe it is I always say like a bigger Speedo, so I explain that to people, like that's a really cool combination. Like I was definitely wear those when I'm on the water. I wear them under my board shorts. That's a cool thing. It's starting to really come out in popularity. You look back at the trends now, like now it's like anything longer than 5-inch inseam looks long. So like shorts just look long now. You don't see the knee length board shorts anymore. And if you do, it really stands out and makes the person look dated, So
big time.
And then obviously one of the cool things with the brand too that I love is that you guys sell matching kits for couples. So the bikinis match the same patterns on the Sungas, on the shorts, the silkies, or the board shorts, which is super fun. You see so many couples will buy that. Like there's so many couples who want to show up at an event or whatever, So I love that. Like what's that been like for you guys with the couples side of it?
Yeah, it's kind of perfect for getting more content, and it's also a great way for a lot of guys probably followed the brand in the beginning because of like pretty girls wearing cool bikinis and everything, but it's not just like following Playboy, because there's all these other products that they see, they're drawn to it through the girls that might come up on a Discover page, but then they see all this cool clothing that's founded by a SEAL and doing all this great stuff and has a lot of fighters and other cool people involved with it. So they're drawn to it a lot more. I think it's a great way to market it.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a really cool brand. I mean it erupted here in St. Pete when I started working with you guys a year or 2 years ago, and I started just wearing it out to the volleyball scene, the beach scene. It's like I see so many people now with it on Instagram. And that summer specifically, I started noticing it, and I was like, it's so cool because those are organic orders. Those weren't like ones that there's people just ordering it from seeing it, And one thing I do a good job of, I think, is like when I moved here, I was able to find like the right people to be like a brand ambassador almost. So, hey, come be part of the shoot, take these with you. But there are people that had following or were like trendsetters with fashion already. So like getting in the hands of those people is huge,
Yeah, the user generated content is like so key these days for social media. And it was actually one of my favorite parts of the brand as well is just who's going to be wearing this doing what today. And there's people climbing Mount Everest. I had a guy walk the entire Appalachian Trail wearing just a pair of silkies, like for the whole time. People, I would see like John Fitch would wear it to actually fight one of my friends, Neiman Gracie. And yeah, just all these epic stuff. Swimming, I get to sponsor a lot of charity events. Hudson Seal Swim had like 170 people wear it to swim the Hudson River last year. The Honor Foundation swim in San Diego Bay, finishing at the USS Midway. Tons of fighters love to wear it. Mitch is wearing the Sunga to fight in different championships with the belt and everything. And yeah, it's just epic. Swim week, got to do that, and it was a total blast.
Swim week was cool. And I one of the things that I did with the Sunga stuff is like for the 4th of July this last year, I did Liver King's workout, the Barbarian. I don't know if you've ever seen that content. I know it got reshared to the page, wearing a American flag Sunga and the American flag cape shirt that you guys sent out.
Damn.
So I wore both, and I did the Barbarian, which is like dragging the sled with the kettlebells, walking the farmer's walk with the sled. It was absolutely brutal, and I'm out there just looking like Captain America. Like, if there's any day that I'm going to push myself, it's going to be today. And that's another part of it too that people love, is like the American flag style, like patriotic stuff. We went through the last rough couple of years, and it's like the country needs patriotism now more than ever. So people are really getting behind. Like,
yeah, damn straight. We are never going to get confused for being a woke brand or
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. You can see that. I mean, you're definitely a patriotic brand, and I love it. So entrepreneur life compared to, SEAL life, like what are the day-to-day stuff that you guys were dealing with when you were growing Sunga? It was you and Warren, who's your partner in business,
yes.
right?
Yep. Yeah, we actually met at UCLA Anderson, one of my first days at school. It was called Femba Palooza. And it was like maybe a month before school started, and we met there and became friends. And he was randomly in my learning group, and he was an entrepreneur. He had a events company doing casino night, and then he was selling that. And I was bringing Sunga Life through the entrepreneurship pipeline at UCLA, all the different classes to finish with the business creation option, which is your master's thesis. And so it was cool. Sunga Life was my master's thesis at UCLA. Cool.
Okay.
And I had a team of MBA students with all different backgrounds. I like a PhD engineer, Warren's an entrepreneur. I had accountants, finance people, like marketers for like Lyft and, big tech companies that were taking all their brain power and putting it into like Sunga Life for a grade. So it was like best case scenario for me.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Right place, right time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And it was cool because when I applied to UCLA, I had literally written, I want to, use the resources here of this school to try to grow and scale my brand, have it be more connected with charities and foundations, and then use the success of my company to help them at the same time. And I kind of remembered back on that as I was doing that BCO, that I was like, wow, this went like perfectly
exactly how I planned.
Yeah.
And how often in life does that happen, right? Especially in business, there's always that pivot.
Yeah.
So when you guys started launching and marketing, was it initially like that push from following or from finding influencers, or was it right away into the paid ad side of things?
So in the beginning, it was all like me and my friends wearing it, because I literally, used my Iraq reenlistment bonus to make the products, and then I would just either friends would buy it or at a discount, or I would give it to some people, and then other people would see it and be like, hey, I want to kind of like you, hey, I love what your company stands for and stuff. You want to send me some, and I'll make you some really great content. And so I would do that. And then it just, because I had, I was still in the Navy, I had like no real budget for marketing it. And that's what I did. And it took a couple years too, that I really perfected the products, kind of got the sizing a little better, more designs. I started creating, originally it was a Loudmouth Patriot design and like Shark and Diver. Then I started creating camo, which kind of really goes with the brand, put little subtle tridents in there, and called it the Naked Warrior Camo, which honors the original frogmen that cleared the beaches in Normandy and Iwo Jima. They would just have a dive mask, maybe some haversack mines, a knife, fins, and little tiny shorts, basically a Sunga. And I'm like, damn, I like kind of put it together. I was like, damn. And they were called the Naked Warriors, and they were called frogmen. And I was like, man, I am definitely on the right track. That's like, you know, the Naked Warrior. And I thought it was a great way to honor those, the original frogmen and everything with that camo, and then started making more camo designs, tiger camo, multicam black, desert camo, all the good stuff. And then all the girls liked it too. Little tactical bikinis and everything.
Yeah, for sure. The females loved the bikinis. Got great response on all of it. Everything that we did, everyone loved the products. You know, we had so much fun shooting the ads. And so let's jump into the travel life, because that's one thing that you just constantly are doing. You're always on the move. I feel like you're always everywhere. Is that something that you acquired from you were traveling through the Navy, or like what has led you to be such a well-traveled person?
Yeah, I just loved traveling and wanting to see the world and everything. I actually planned when I was going to finish with the Navy, I was going to travel the world for a year. And I set my business up where like traveling would be an advantage. All I need is a laptop, have my fulfillment warehouse that ships everything for me. And Kyle Maynard, who's born a quadruple amputee, we were living together in San Diego. Kyle was a champion wrestler and jiu-jitsu fighter, climbed some of the highest mountains in the world, Kilimanjaro and Aconcagua. And I was like, hey, let's travel when I finish the Navy. And we literally went all the way around the world, went to Japan, went to Barcelona, did Croatia Yacht Week, did Israel, Jerusalem.
Yeah, but how did you navigate those connections? Stuff. Are you just super well connected because of the Navy, or does that is like a Jeff Gum specialty? Like you seem a very well connected guy.
Well, I get invited to a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. So, perfect example. When we were working with you with Sunga, I have a buddy. When I say his name, you're going to know this connection. But David Cruz. I don't remember if you met David Cruz. But David Cruz knew about you from Sunga Life, from us doing ads. He knew, hey, like this is a client of my friend's marketing agency. He goes out to Greece, and he sends me a picture, and you guys are in some VIP section, and I'm like, you know, like what are the odds of that? I think you're with Ratmir.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nick Santanosasa. Yep. But I was like, the odds of that are just so unique and cool. He's like, man, Jeff just goes everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel, I say yes when I get invited to cool things. I try to, if possible, I'll say yes. And it leads to, you know, getting invited to more stuff from there. I also feel I manifest some of these things. Like Kyle Maynard was one of my heroes. I saw a story on Real Sports Brian Gumbel, and he had no arms or legs and was,
I know who he is,
beating, you know, multiple state champions. And then I used to think about him when I would do jujitsu with like Jocko and Dean Lister. I would be like getting ready to go to Iraq, and I would think to myself, all right, if I get blown up, I'm going to be really strong for my weight class. And then I'm out at a beach bar in San Diego when I came back from my second deployment, and there's Kyle Maynard next to me, and we start talking, become like best friends, and travel the world together. And
it's so cool. So I mean, I have an example of that with you, right? Yeah. Saying yes to things when you can. I was story, you know, like one of the funniest, craziest nights where I'm out on a wake surf boat. It was my birthday. And so I had like some of my best guy crew out, and we took the wake surf boat out, and we're doing like a sunset surf squad. And because it was my birthday, he was like, hey, you get to handpick the crew on the boat. Because sometimes like it's a big mixed group of people, and you're with these loudmouth people. I'm like, okay, so it's my squad. And it was just an awesome, awesome day. We're out there riding the e-foils, wake surfing, wakeboarding, just doing it up. And then on the way back, I get a call from you. And you're like, hey, dude, I'm in Miami right now. I'm about to leave and drive to Tampa. Do you want to go to the Jake Paul fight tonight? I have 2 tickets, like really good seats. You can go. And I had to hustle to get off the boat, get to my truck, drive to get dressed and make it there. But we made it happen. And it was an eventful, cool last night where I met Mitch, which is an amazing connection you made through me. You know, me and Mitch have done some cool stuff together. He was actually on the podcast. And it's like, I'm with you. Like you start to say yes and you start to manifest and attract an energy, and it just leads to opportunities,
Exactly. And then because you said yes to this thing, then you meet new people there.
Yep.
They invite you to the next one.
Yep.
And it's like the family tree, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it. Like the people I've been trying to really assess this. I had a really good buddy of mine that we grew up with. We're not so much good friends anymore, but I'm thinking about how different our life has turned out. And one of the reasons I think is because he always felt like the world was like out to get him in some way. He had like a skepticism on life. Like we were driving, like, why is this guy riding me so close? And I'm like, he's just like, it's not, I don't think like that. Like, I don't think he's out to get you. He's just driving. And like the way he would perceive things, his paradigm was so different. And so like if a guy, like for instance, like I think it's because of jiu-jitsu and me doing it for 17 years, I make friends with every dude everywhere all the time. I'm a guy's guy. Like if I make eye contact with a guy, it doesn't matter how scary he looks. I'll hold eye contact. I'm like, what's up, man? Like, I feel like we're going to be friends. I'm not like he's sizing me up to come beat my ass. I don't think like that. And a lot of men do think like that. So they almost like put away so many opportunities because they're already skeptical. Like, is someone going to mess with me? They're trying to take something from me. They're trying to put me in a weird spot, take advantage of me. So I feel like you going through SEALs put you in a perspective where you started to see like you felt so secure that you're able to like, like, hey, if I say yes and I end up and things get weird, I can handle myself and I can always leave, So it's like, put you in a perspective. I think a lot of people just say no too much before they know it because they realize, hey, if I say yes to this thing, I'm not able to control the whole thing. I'm not with my own people. I'm not in my own element. They don't want to put themselves in any situation like that.
Yeah. And then the other part of my life now has been like being a new uncle and everything.
Yeah, so, I see the pictures.
Right after COVID, I did a antibody test and I had the antibodies already in April. I'm like, all right, perfect. And flew to Pennsylvania, went to see my nephew, and then ever since then, I've been back almost every month, and that's why I kind of moved to Florida too. Like many reasons, but a big one was to be closer to my family up there. And then now I have a little baby niece. My nephew's 3. I'm there a week out of every.
You are there a lot because I'm on your close friend story, and I always see the babies. And it's like I'm a dad, and so I always laugh because I'm like, it's so cute that Jeff's like such a proud uncle. Like you'll just put so many pictures, and I tell you like, look at her, she's doing, and it's awesome.
Yeah, my niece is so like spunky, and she's gonna be like a little gymnast or something because she's just climbing up. My sister was just at the table with her husband and my nephew, and she like looked away for a second. My niece 1-year-old climbs onto the chair, then climbs onto the table, and my nephew goes, "What are you doing up there?" My sister just like turns around. Literally, it's like 3 seconds, and sees the niece standing on the table, like runs and scoops her up, scared the heck out of my sister if she would have fallen or anything. But
wow. It is being a parent is crazy. It's all locked in for sure, man. It's a really cool journey for sure. And even an uncle for you get to experience it like that. Do you see yourself wanting to have kids of your own?
Yeah, I want like 6 or 7.
Got it. So when does that start for you? When you like find the one and you're like,
I need to find the right girl, and then
who it's with is a really important part, as I know everyone knows. Like, I even have a couple friends who are like almost lifelong single. They're 38, and he's starting to have a conversation. He says it in a funny way. He says that I'm going to buy a baby, but what he means is he's either going to get a surrogate. He wants it to be his seed. So he's like, I want to find someone to like have a kid for me that I have full rights to. I don't have to share this with another person, and I get that. I understand the side of it. Parent
I would do it if I need. I would do that if I need to. But hopefully I find the right woman and like wife. But I wouldn't necessarily like make my wife have like 6 or 7 herself. Right. Like I'd say maybe 2 or something, and then maybe do surrogates after that.
It's a challenge. It definitely takes a toll on the women for sure.
Yeah. Especially like I want to be with someone who's like a serious athlete. So to go through that all those times as an athlete and be limited in your workouts and everything, it would definitely be tougher.
What is the Miami scene like? So obviously being in Miami, right? When I think about Miami and the dating and the type of women and the type of culture down there, like, like what is it like down in Miami? Is it what everyone thinks? If someone's never been to Miami, I've been several times, but what is that like? Like, are you going to see the girls walking in thongs? Everyone's beautiful that works at Walgreens and every other place. Like,
A lot of people have the wrong idea about Miami because they come here and party and go to the clubs till like 5 a.m. or something, but that's not what it's like at all for people who live here. It's been rated like the happiest and healthiest city like 3 years in a row or something. And, um, it's like amazing sun, amazing water, boating, all these great things. There's on the beach, there's gym equipment. You can work out there. There's a park next to where I live where there's all this outdoor equipment. I live a block from like the best gym in Miami. It's Miami Strong, and work out there every day doing all this different stuff. And yeah, it's just incredible. And then, we're like, boating, you're out in the sun, I prefer to do something like that over being in like a dark, noisy club till like 4 or 5 in the morning, not even being able to talk. So
yeah, Miami's beautiful. One of my jiu-jitsu favorite memories ever was I was a co-owner of an event called Jits King Promotions. It was like a tournament. We had it on Flow Grappling, like exhibition matches, and 2 fight sports guys were fighting for our event. So we scheduled a content creation media day, and we went and interviewed them. And went one day to the academy, but the next day was Saturday. They're like, hey, come down to South Point Park. We bring all our mats down there and we set them up and roll. And it was one of those days where just like show up. I'm filming on this cool day, but like the sun setting, South Point Park, what that area is at? Just this gorgeous area. Mm-hmm. Mats are on the grass. We're jumping in the ocean right there off like by the rocks, then climbing out, and everyone can roll. And there's reggae music playing. And I'm like, this is and we're there with Cyborg and all these guys. And I'm
that's so epic.
Jiu-jitsu like memory that I'll never forget. It's like Miami is a beautiful place for sure. Yeah, I think you're right. People treat it like Vegas,
Yeah, they think it's Vegas, but it's it's not at all. And the weather is amazing year round. Like, I lived in Orlando a while for university, and the summers were way hotter and the winters were way colder. Like the December and January here is beautiful.
Yeah, it doesn't get
and
cold,
then
right?
Summer is hot for sure, but it's not that bad because you're right on the water. It doesn't get too, it's always manageable. And it's cool you're doing that stuff with fight sports. I had a bunch of Danish frogmen come to town. I set them up with training with Josias, like Jay-Z Cavalcante and Cyborg and all these guys. They were here. They really enjoyed the training at that gym, and then the Muay Thai and MMA.
Beautiful academy. They even have, it's like the only gym I've ever seen that has an acai shop inside the academy on that site. There's like a smoothie shop, acai bowl inside the academy. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Such a cool spot, So right now, what are some of the ventures you're working on? You're talking about you got a couple of different things you're doing. Entrepreneur life never stops. Like same as myself, I'm always thinking about new ideas, and it's like I don't know if it's the same with you. I receive it randomly, and I learn to trust it like a download. Like it's universal intelligence talking to me. So there's times where like I'll just suddenly, you'll get this jolt of an idea, and then it's like, I didn't have this knowledge 5 minutes ago. Now I have it, and now I'm forced to begin taking action on it. It's like kind of cool how that happens to some people. So what are you working on now? Because I'm sure there's some things up your sleeve.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a partner in this gun range. It's up by Palm Beach, about 20-30 minutes from the airport there. And it's going to be all private member. We're going to have about 150 members, run like a country club. It's within an hour of a lot of the top beaches in Florida.
It's awesome.
And it's got 300-meter range, kind of like a little mini sniper, 150-meter range, and then 35-meter kind of tactical range, all steel. And it's going to have a kill house so you can learn like close quarters combat, moving with the team and everything. And then going to have a combatives area, gym, sauna, be like very exclusive luxury style shooting, because a lot of people in Florida have hundreds of thousands of dollars of guns and nowhere good to go shoot it. And with all the things that have happened in the last like few years, people should really know how to defend themselves and use the rights that God and our country has given them. So you'll have to come out and
Yeah, I love that.
do some shooting with us. It's going to be finished in the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. And
I would
then,
love that. That'd be
yeah,
that
we
sounds
can get
amazing.
out there.
One of the coolest things I think too that I talk about this all the time. A lot of the guys that I got my black belt with is that it's like the hand-to-hand combat, the physical part. I'm like, yeah, we got that part checked. Like if I have my hands on someone, I feel very confident that I could incapacitate them. But the tactical shooting side is one that I haven't done a lot of. I've got a couple of blocks, I've got I got a rifle. I have the normal amount of guns. I think I have 5 firearms. I don't shoot them often. I did when I first got them, just to put some range time to make sure. But it's like I watched some of Tim Kennedy's videos for sheepdog response that I saw on YouTube, and I was like, that looks so cool. Like to have someone teach you how to clear a house, how to act in the event of anything where you're protecting your family, and like that's
totally. Yeah, we're going to have all kinds of guns that different people can use and try out. We have a partnership with Palm Beach Tactical. My partners on the range is Rob O'Neill, who's famous for shooting Bin Laden, Drew Platis, who's a Army Ranger and has a lot of experience with gun ranges. And yeah, it's going to be an awesome facility. I'm really excited for it to get back into more shooting as well, going there. And then I'm also involved with a search engine called Seeker. You can check it out, seekr.com. And yeah, it uses AI and machine learning to tell you misinformation and kind of human bias that are within news articles. Like, does the heading match the subject? Does it is it like a hit piece written on somebody? Is it left, right, or center? It will tell you. It'll tell you like 30 different kinds of human biases that are in an article, all using AI and machine learning. So it's very, very powerful. A lot of alternative search engines are built on the main search engine. So even like Safari is built on Google. Even DuckDuckGo is built on Bing. Like there's only 2 search engines in the US pretty much other than this. Everything else is built on them. And,
wow. And there's so much bias. Like I was just watching a Joe Rogan podcast clip this morning where he was arguing with one of the guests, and the guest was trying to get him to pull up this specific article on a subject that when marijuana was legalized in Colorado, it made more DUIs. And Rogan was like, that's preposterous. So they start pulling up, articles. And he's like, no. Go to this article on our site. And he's like, why would I trust one article on your site? When I'm just pulling up 7 or 8 of them here. And it's like, so true. People, that's what's happened with social media, right? It's like I can take a meme and I can make a stat sheet and make shit up. And then I can just like post it and send it. And then people will reshare it and be like, yeah, Tony said so. And that's what's happened with a lot of people. So it's like the fact checking is really, really,
what is that quote? 80% of statistics are made up on the spot.
Yeah, I'm sure. Right. You just, yeah. And like, it's so easy nowadays in conversation.
Like that one.
So they did a study where 14 out of, 27 Navy SEALs have never worn a Sunga. And it's like people just say random shit out of their ass. And then right away, you're like, you don't stop the conversation to say, my bullshit meter just went off. Like people don't do that in much, so they just accept it for a fact in the conversation. So that's an amazing. So Seeker sounds awesome. Make sure everyone checks that out. That's really dope.
We have some big people involved, Tony Robbins and Bear Grylls and some sports teams owners and stuff. And I brought in a lot of different SEALs and stuff too for that. So it's been out for about a year, and we have an app too. It's like the main thing I search for whenever I'm looking for news. And then we have some huge partnerships that should be built out in the next like 2 to 3 months with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. So really cool. Some really powerful technology.
I love it, man. So where can people find information about the gun range? I know people are getting really curious about that.
Yeah, so just go to trainclub.com.
Train Club.
Kind of like Fight Club, but it's Train Club.
Love it.
So
check that out.
Go there.
Live Silkies, by the way. I mean, I'll say this one last time for everyone listening. The most comfortable pair of swimwear you'll ever wear. I still wear them all the time. And the only thing I told Jeff is like, at a certain point, I've just worn every pattern they have so much. I'm like, I just want some new prints because I'm always wearing them. It's like my go-to
Yeah.
swimwear for sure.